This is not the France of Parisian lights. This is France, a land of wind, stone, and wildlife. From the icy mountain peaks, where vast glaciers stretch their arms across the sky, to the ancient oak forests of Troncais, where red deer have walked silently for centuries. From the vast Camargue wetlands where gray wolves and white horses coexist, to the ghost marshes and the freshwater kingdom of silent, swiftly growing birds, and the secret channels deep within the Sabine, where griffin vultures soar in flocks over narrow rocky mountains, where otters are returning to ancient rivers. Prehistoric torchbearers continue their tireless labor amidst the mountains. In Corsica, the sun and the sea meet, where orcas hunt fish in the deep, dark waters, and beneath the surface of the Scandolous Sea, another world is breathing. This is the journey of wolves, foxes, marmots, and dragonflies that transform in a single night. It is the journey of geese flying thousands of kilometers, of life across France through 4 distinct seasons. A lesser-known France, where royalty was born and lived in opulent, almost suffocating luxury. Welcome to Royal France. On this journey lies a stretch of land, as if gently tilted by the hand of creation, pouring down everything most vibrant and flourishing. A country where thick, fertile soil, endless fields, and countless underground springs hidden beneath the earth have nurtured a world of wildlife so rich that it is almost impossible to find elsewhere. That country is none other than France. As the first rays of dawn cautiously creep across the horizon, a large deer stands motionless in the thin mist, its foreleg raised, its eyes fixed intently on the horizon. What is it listening to? A very faint sound of footsteps in the dense forest, the flapping of wings from the vast canopy, or simply the faint melody of the morning awakening on this ancient land. Before you lies a vast territory overflowing with the wonders of nature. Misty coniferous forests on high mountains, lush green hills, endless vineyards, ocean shores where waves endlessly sculpt the cliffs. It is this overwhelming diversity that has drawn people to this land, where they settled, cultivated, and bonded with it for thousands of years. The creatures living in this peaceful climate range from silent deer to sneaky red foxes, from migratory birds drawing curves across the sky, to tiny creatures hiding under the grass. All carry within them extraordinary journeys. If we could recount them all, it would surely be an endless stream of miraculous stories. In this world, every living being must fight to survive. They hunt one another, compete for territory and food. Sometimes the entire forest trembles with fierce confrontations. But somehow, balance is restored. The invisible laws of nature are still respected. The delicate balance between predation and survival, between destruction and rebirth, continues to be maintained in its own way. When the time for reproduction arrives, they emit mating calls, choosing partners with instinct and the sensitivity of their species. Then they pour all their energy and instinct into protecting the next generation. Every first drop of milk, every hesitant step of the young, every time they face danger, all are part of a greater, ongoing story of life. To survive, many species are forced to adapt. They have adapted to harsh winters, dry summers, and the ever-increasing presence of humans. Some species have developed abilities we can hardly imagine. Their senses are so sharp they can detect the slightest vibrations under the ground. Their wings are strong enough to carry them through storms, or they possess perfect camouflage to blend with leaves and rocks. And there are tours that choose to set out on this journey. Every year, birds spread their wings and leave the northern forests, flying over valleys, lakes, and snow-covered mountains, seeking warmer lands to the south before returning. Their migration routes are so long that they amaze humans, but for them, it is an indispensable rhythm of life. From snow-covered mountain peaks to distant shores where the Atlantic waves roar endlessly. From ancient forests to peaceful marshes where waterfowl feed. France, in its wildest form, it hides countless secrets. Behind every bush, at every bend of the river, there's a story waiting to be told. Our story begins in the high mountains, where the sky seems clear and peaceful. But that is only an illusion. When observed closely, you will see this is a true battlefield for survival. Every branch, every tiny creature is playing with fleeting moments before winter arrives. In this cold place, animal bodies are equipped like armor. Under the skin is a thick layer of fat to retain heat, and on the outside, a thick fur coat locks in warmth, helping them endure the harsh cold no different from the poles. And when blizzards cover every path, they choose to disappear from the world. They sleep for 6 months, their heartbeat slowing to only 1 beat per minute, all to conserve energy and survive. In the snow-covered mountain peaks, where cold winds blow ceaselessly in space, seems utterly empty. The griffin vultures still exist in astonishing ways. They need no dense forests or vast meadows. For them, sheer cliffs, barren mountain mist, and a cold gray sky are enough to call home. While many other species retreat to lower elevations to escape the cold, griffin vultures choose to stay and cling to the harsh heights where life is tested every day. Their thick black feathers help absorb the faint sunlight of winter. Their wide wings allow them to glide on cold air currents rising from the mist, conserving energy on long flights. They are intelligent, adaptable, and know how to seize every opportunity. Griffin vultures not only feed on small insects surviving under the snow, but also follow the trails of larger predators. After each hunt by wolves or ibex, they appear patiently, waiting to pick up every precious scrap of food in the harsh winter. At altitudes where blizzards can strike at any moment, griffin vultures survive thanks to memory and adaptation. They remember wind-swept cliffs, sheltered ravines for overnight rest, and safe flight paths to avoid headwinds. When weather turns bad, they gather in small groups, keeping just enough distance to avoid being swept away, yet close enough to maintain each other's presence. It is not a tight pack like wolves, but a loose, flexible bond true to the nature of this highly intelligent bird. when they leave the snow-covered mountains and descend to the lowlands. The landscape opens into temperate forests stretching across France. In winter, this place is not radiant or noisy, but tranquil and profound. Trees shed their leaves, revealing dark gray trunks standing silently amid the mist. Light snow blankets branches and paths, turning the forest into a peaceful space where even the smallest sound rings clear. In the quiet of winter, a small corner still evokes liveliness with European goldfinches. The forests embrace white snow and pale gray mist. The red on their chests stands out like warm spots in a cold world. When trees are bare and the ground silent, the goldfinch's presence seems to bring the forest back to life. These tiny birds do not abandon the forest in winter. They move in pairs or small groups, silently hopping between bare branches. Their food is simple but sufficient for survival: seeds, dormant buds, and dried fruit remnants from autumn. Each gentle peck at a bud is an exchange of energy to endure the prolonged cold. Their thick, soft feathers help retain warmth, while their rounded bodies reduce exposure to cold air. When temperatures drop, they fluff up and huddle close, using proximity to ward off the wind. Winter allows no wasted energy. Every movement is measured, slow, yet precise. Toward the end of winter, snow has piled high and food sources dwindle. Deer are forced to venture farther for survival. Familiar meadows are now ice-hard and barren. Hunger and cold drive them from safe shelters, following old paths down to lower valleys where ground begins to emerge under weak sunlight. Every step is a trade-off. Traveling farther expends more energy from an already weakened body after months of cold. But staying means starvation, so they move slowly and cautiously, pausing long to dig for moss sprouts and the first young shoots emerging as winter loosens its grip. And in the final days of winter, wolves become the deer's greatest enemy. When hunger grips both predator and prey, the line between life and death grows thinner than ever. Wolves do not need to appear openly. They observe from afar, watching every slightest movement of the deer, waiting for a moment of vulnerability in this exhausting journey. The weakest, thinnest, or injured deer quickly fall into their sights. Wolves know they do not need to be faster than the deer, only more patient and persistent. The pack splits, spreading across hills and trails, gradually closing in on the prey. The pressure comes not from speed, but from endurance, forcing the deer to keep moving until exhaustion. March arrives, bringing the first signs of change. Snow begins to melt on hillsides and forest paths, revealing soil long buried. Small streams form from melting ice, seeping through rocks and roots, awakening the forest after the long winter. The air remains cold, but gentler, as if nature is breathing softly again. In open spaces, the first blades of grass sprout, fragile yet resilient, pushing through damp, decayed leaves to greet the lingering sunlight. Pale green appears here and there, then spreads, replacing winter's white and gray. For herbivores, it is a signal of new life, a vital source of energy to recover from months of scarcity. Farther east in France, the Alps rise like a colossal wall, forming a nearly 1,200 kilometers loop. They are not just mountains. They are a giant controlling the climate's rhythm, holding ice and snow, storing precious water, and silently nourishing the lowlands through every stream and river. And right in the heart of the range lies the Vanoise National Park, a land of rock and ice, with about 150 peaks over 3,000 m and glaciers spanning tens of thousands of hectares. Here winter does not merely come and go. It lingers on cliffs in deep valleys, and in the chill carried by every breeze. This is where nature displays its most primal power and where life learns to endure to survive. This territory is home to a legendary animal, the golden eagle. On the sheer cliffs of the Alps, this giant bird of prey nests at heights few creatures can reach. With a wingspan over 2 meters, it glides for hours with almost no flapping, riding thermal updraft from mountain mist to survey the world below. From above, the golden eagle sees every tiny movement in valleys and slopes. A marmot just emerging from its burrow, a chamois exposed on rocky ground. All lie within the sharp gaze of this supreme predator. Each hunt is calculated precisely, beginning with absolute patience, ending in a lightning dive where speed and power combine perfectly. But the golden eagle is not merely a symbol of strength. Its presence reflects the balance of the mountain ecosystem. Only places quiet enough, pristine enough, and rich in life can sustain such an apex predator. In a national park, the sight of a golden eagle soaring across the sky is not just rare, but a reminder that nature here remains preserved in its most pristine state. On steep slopes, we sometimes hear rocks tumbling down. That is the chamois. Their refuge is sheer cliffs between gray rock and snow. Their sturdy bodies move with ease, as if gravity no longer applies. Every step is perfectly precise, placed on ledges so narrow humans can barely stand. Their split hooves act like natural clamps, gripping rock tightly. Strong muscles and compact bodies allow them to climb heights predators struggle to follow. For chamois, cliffs are not obstacles, they are fortresses. From there, they survey the entire valley below and detect danger from afar. Life at harsh altitudes forces chamois to adapt to cold winds, deep snow, and scarce food. They graze on dry grass, moss, and sprouts clinging to rock crevices, utilizing everything nature offers. In winter, they gather on sun-facing slopes where snow melts sooner and ground is more accessible. In the high mountain ecosystem, chamois are a key link, hardy herbivores and prey for high predators like golden eagles. Their presence shows the delicate yet stable balance of nature here. On sheer cliffs where humans only dare look from afar, chamois continue their lives, silent, resilient, and full of instinct. April arrives, and the sun begins shining on on the alpine hillsides. Warm, longer light touches remaining snow patches, causing them to melt gradually. On cliffs and valleys, white recedes step by step, giving way to darker soil and young grass awakening after the harsh winter. The first streams emerge from glaciers, dripping from rock cracks, then joining to form brooks. They weave through valleys, babbling between rocks and roots, carrying high mountain chill, yet bringing life. These streams will grow, nourishing lowland vegetation and supplying water to distant lowlands. But on sunny mountain slopes, where early grass has softened and greened, marmots begin reappearing. After months hibernating underground, they emerge slowly and cautiously, as if needing time to believe winter has truly passed. Early sunlight touches their thick fur, warming bodies weakened by long sleep. Marmots are characteristic high mountain residents. They live in groups, digging complex burrow systems underground where stable temperatures help them survive harsh winters. In early awakening days, marmots spend most time eating, grazing young grass and roots, quickly replenishing fat lost during winter. On sunny slopes, marmots often stand upright on hind legs to survey surroundings. At any unusual sign, a bird shadow overhead or strange movement in the valley, they emit sharp warning whistles, alerting the colony. In an instant, the ground empties as all vanish into safe burrows. The massif central lies farther south in the range, a land that seems calm but harbors immense underground movements. These silent changes have created a harsh world where life must always restart from zero. And in early April, deep in a cave's darkness, a birth is announced. Wolf pups are born, small and fragile in the lingering winter chill. The narrow den becomes their first cradle, safe yet isolated like a separate world from the surrounding mountains. These wolf pups are now 3 weeks old, and today they see daylight for the first time. Weak sunlight floods the den entrance, making their young eyes blink rapidly in confusion and curiosity. The outside world is not just light. It has wind, damp grass scents, distant water sounds, and vague mountain awakening noises. Unlike wolves, these bear cubs were born in winter when the outside world was still blanketed in ice and snow. They uttered their first cries in the darkness of a rock den, where Mother Bear hibernated, protecting them with her warmth and thick fur. Now, as spring emerges, the cubs follow Mother outside for the first time. Light makes them squint. Short, clumsy legs touch still cold, damp ground. Everything is new. Strange scents, distant and near sounds, rustling wind through branches. Mother Bear walks slowly, constantly looking back to ensure her cubs follow closely. They explore the world with unhidden curiosity, touching grass, flipping stones, playing in water, sometimes tumbling, then standing again. For them, the spring forest is a vast playground where every step is a lesson. But beneath that innocence, Mother Bear's vigilance never fades. She leads them to roots, insects, and young shoots, teaching them to find food and recognize danger. But elsewhere, this male bear has also just awakened from hibernation. He approaches misty lakes. After months without food, his body is thin, steps slow and heavy. Every movement aims at one goal: food. Spring has arrived, but for male bears this remains the most dangerous time of year. He sniffs the cold, damp air, flips lakeside stones for insects, digs soft soil where roots emerge. Anything edible becomes precious. An anthill, young shoots, fish carcasses washed ashore after ice melt. Male bears are not picky. After deep hibernation, the urgent need to regain energy is critical. Unlike mothers with cubs, Male bears live solitary lives. He roams widely, leaving large footprints in wet mud and fresh grass. His presence alone makes other animals wary. Even females avoid him in this phase, as hunger and exhaustion can make males aggressive. Along lakes and low valleys, the male bear marks territory, sending silent signals of his return. This is when he reclaims his living space after winter, preparing for the active months ahead. Amid the reviving landscape, the male bear's lumbering steps remind us that spring brings not only gentleness, but also a new, harsh, unyielding cycle of survival. The Alsace Plain and Vosges Mountains in northeastern France create an astonishing area. Here is a rare intersection between open fields and dense mountain forests. This diverse terrain forms a natural picture, both soft and majestic. Numerous wetlands are sheltered by silent mountain ranges. Deep valleys, winding rivers, and temperate forests create a vital natural corridor for migratory birds, water sources, and silent movements of wildlife. Every autumn, gray geese from France begin a long journey, crossing French skies southward to warmer wintering grounds. For thousands of years, mature geese have led younger generations along flight paths, needing no maps or guides. They pass routes by instinct and experience, turning Alsace and Vosges skies into an unchanging part of the journey where migration tradition continues across generations. And now they have returned to France to begin a new journey. As cold days retreat and light lasts longer, familiar formations reappear in Alsace and Vosges skies. On the ground, the landscape is ready to welcome them. Flooded wetlands, damp meadows, and river meadows become ideal resting spots after long flights. Here geese find abundant food, necessary quiet, and open space to restore energy. Their calls ring at dawn and dusk, blending into the plain's stillness, signaling the return of a familiar natural cycle. This return is not just a reverse trip. It is the continuation of an ancient survival tradition. Mature geese lead while young follow closely, observing and memorizing every wing beat and direction. Each migration is a silent lesson passed overhead from generation to generation. The Alsace Plain is one of France's most fertile and prosperous regions. For a long time, people have lived along the Rhine River's gentle banks, with thick alluvial soil for planting, farming, and building peaceful villages. On gentle hillsides, human labor has turned land into bountiful harvests, creating a warm, sustainable countryside where nature and humans coexist for centuries. And at the foot of forests, Alsace is famous for sprawling vineyards on sun-facing hills. Rows of vines stretch like soft veins across the land, changing colors with seasons. Lush green in summer, golden and deep red in autumn. Here, French farmers tend each vine with patience and generational experience. They understand wind, soil, sunlight rhythms to create Alsace's distinctive flavors from tiny grapes. A land where prosperity comes not only from nature, but also from diligent human hands. Right above the ancient villages, the Vosges rise like a moderate mountain wall. Not too fierce, but enough to shape the region's climate and landscape. And on these Vosges slopes, dense vegetation has turned rugged terrain into a forest straight from fairy tales. When mist drifts through branches, when sunlight pierces leaves, Vosges forests carry a mystical aura, quiet yet profound. Beech, fir, and spruce grow thick, competing for sky. Many trees have lived centuries, standing firm through storms and cold snow, forming deep green forest pillars. This is a rich, protected habitat where large animals find food, shelter, and quiet needed for survival. Another animal with a voracious appetite lives in these forests. More discreet than bears, but full of energy. The European badger, a silent resident of Vosges and Alsace plains. By day, they almost vanish from the outside world, hiding deep in complex underground burrow systems, leaving only faint traces on fallen leaves. When night falls, badgers become active with extremely keen noses and sturdy bodies. They rummage across the ground, digging soft soil for earthworms, insects, roots, berries, and leftover food scraps. Badgers' diets are diverse, and this flexibility helps them adapt well to changing temperate forest seasons. Though male and female badgers' lives are usually stable, today everything changes. There is an important mission that could disrupt all habits. Mating season has arrived. For her, this is not casual. It is a vital task. This morning, she feels a strong, instinctive urge. She must find a suitable male partner, not just for now, but for the future of the cubs to come. She knows where to go. Scents on the wind guide her. Somewhere in this forest, males are patrolling, leaving traces and messages. She remembers a few males live across the lake. She heads there slowly but decisively. Along the way, she pauses often, nose to ground, checking every scent. Some males accept invitations quickly, but leave after, abandoning all when cubs are born. For her, that is unacceptable. Suddenly a strong, clear scent wafts by. A male just passed, the mark fresh and close. She immediately changes direction, following the scent like an invisible thread. But the daytime forest is quiet, and the scent's owner seems vanished. Where is he hiding? She advances cautiously, stopping to listen, then sniff, patient like a hunter tracking in darkness. And finally he appears. She approaches slowly, a moment of silence, a long sniff, then he accepts. She relaxes instantly, her eyes and gait change. She has found what she needs. And in the wild world, sometimes happiness is just that simple, the right choice at the right moment. Descending to central France's plains, thousands of hectares of nature stretch wide, surrounding spaces where humans have lived for ages. And just outside Paris lies a forest with very different beauty, both wild and majestic, enchanting French kings for centuries. That is Fontainebleau, a royal forest. For about 1,500 years, it has been preserved and protected as a royal heritage, not only for natural value, but also its special position near the capital. Fontainebleau Forest is a rare mix of ancient oak forests and wide sandy areas like a European desert fragment. Amid the forest, bizarre sandstone boulders rise like statues sculpted by nature. In this strange setting, royalty once gathered, rode horses through leaf-covered paths, held hunts and power ceremonies. Fontainebleau is thus not just a forest. It is where nature and history intertwine, leaving marks of both wildlife and monarchy. In Fontainebleau Forest, red deer truly are the soul of royalty. Amid ancient oaks and pale, sandy clearings, they appear as ancient, silent yet majestic figures. At dawn, when mist still clings to leaf litter and sunlight just pierces branches, deer begin moving. They step lightly on soft sand, ears up, noses constantly sniffing. In this forest, every small sound can signal danger. Females and young often move in groups, choosing open areas near forest edges to graze and browse young shoots. They eat quickly but never lose vigilance. Occasionally, the herd raises heads simultaneously to listen, then lowers to continue patiently gathering food. As if every day in the forest is a silent test, males separate more. Mature individuals with large antlers walk slowly and firmly, leaving deep footprints in sand and rub marks on trees as declarations of presence. On ancient oak trunks, a small but unusual bird, the nuthatch. Unlike most woodland birds, it not only flies between branches but climbs up and down trunks in all directions, even head first, as if gravity does not exist. The nuthatch taps lightly on bark, probing every smallest crevice. They hide insects, trapped seeds, and food scraps other birds miss. In this forest where competition is silent, this unusual movement gives the nuthatch a clear advantage. It exploits spaces few birds can reach. Its call is short, dry, cutting through forest quiet. Not melodious or showy, but enough to affirm presence. Amid Fontainebleau's great oaks where large species like red deer rule the ground, the nuthatch masters vertical space. It proves that in the wild royal world, strength lies not only in size, but in subtle adaptation to every bark groove and forest breath. On France's Atlantic coast in Poitou-Charentes lies a very special land called the Marais Poitevin. This is not purely natural wetland, but a space shaped by humans over generations. Hundreds of thousands of hectares of flooded land have been channeled, divided, and formed into a vast network of canals, marshes, and wetlands. Today, these waterland interlaced spaces create an astonishingly vibrant world. Dense reed beds, nutrient-rich mud, and wide wetlands become cradles of life. Grass grows thick, mud nourishes countless small creatures, drawing larger ones in turn. Waterbirds arrive seasonally. Silent mammals follow canal banks. And beneath the water, life moves ceaselessly. The Marais Poitevin thus becomes an astonishing ecosystem where wildlife thrives in a water kingdom shaped by humans, but nature is what makes it alive. In the Marais Poitevin's quiet canal network, the great crested grebe finds an ideal refuge. Most of its time passes on water, drifting silently with slow currents. As always watchful, when spotting prey, in an instant its slender body vanishes underwater. It dives, using strong legs to propel quickly and precisely, catching small fish and aquatic creatures, then surfacing elsewhere as if never gone. And there's a moment of this bird species that, once seen, is almost unforgettable. People jokingly call it the loving taxi service. Parent grebe relaxes wings, so chicks climb onto its back, then calmly swims out into the lake to continue foraging. On that warm back, chicks press close, safe from cold wind and underwater dangers. They gently preen parents' feathers in a familiar gesture, occasionally raising heads to gaze at the sky, young eyes curious yet innocent. Around, water ripples gently, and in that tenderness, we clearly see, amid the harsh wild world, moments of care and protection still exist, full of love. Farther south in France, the Camargue wetlands feel like a completely different world, where the Rhone River splits into branches before reaching the sea. Land and water merge, creating a vast, flat, windy land. The sky seems lower here, light stronger, and nature's movements slow, yet clear, unhidden. Camargue is land of immense open spaces, shallow lagoons, reed beds, salt meadows, and mirror-like lakes reflecting the sky. A picture constantly changing with seasons. When sun rises, water sparkles like crystal. When wind blows, wetlands ripple, carrying scents of young reeds, wet grass, and southern air. Here nature is not confined but spreads freely and unbound. When prehistoric humans first arrived in Camargue, it was a vast, damp, insect-filled marsh. Soft soil, flooding water, and wild nature made this land a hard-to-tame world, rich yet hostile. Humans could only stand at the edge and observe. By the 12th century, monastic communities began settling and undertaking an almost impossible task. They sought to drain the marsh. They built dams to control water levels, dug long canals to drain excess rainwater. Meter by meter land was reclaimed, and from under thick mud, a rare, fertile soil emerged. Agriculture and livestock flourished. What was once wasteland became fertile pastures, bringing prosperity unimaginable before. Camargue entered a new era where human footprints shaped the landscape and turned this land into a treasure of livelihood. But not all was tamed. In one corner of the wetland, an area was left for nature to decide its fate, and their wildlife took over. Over years, trees grew thick, water pooled, reeds spread, creating a majestic space like a secret kingdom. In spring, gray heron flocks begin returning to this fertile land from surrounding regions. They converge on the flooded forest as if guided by ancient memory. On tall treetops, pairs claim familiar positions where they nested in previous breeding seasons. Spring is bonding time. Mature herons pair amid the noisy colony. where hundreds of nests crowd branches. They repair old nests, bringing dry branches, grass, and leaves, patiently building safe homes for the new generation. Amid echoing calls and constant wing beats, each pair maintains its rhythm, focused on their vital task. When eggs hatch, the forest enters its most vibrant phase. Heron chicks appear, weak and hungry, constantly calling for care. Parents take turns at the nest, flying kilometers to catch fish, frogs, and aquatic creatures, then returning to feed young. Each flight is a race against time, as tiny beaks wait incessantly in the nest. In spring, all creatures seek to bring life to a new generation. But one species undergoes a strange transformation reminiscent of science fiction stories: the dragonfly. Its life begins in water. For over a year, the tiny larva lives underwater, silently hunting and growing in darkness. It has never seen sky, never known wind or light. But this night, everything changes. When the sun sets, ancient instinct urges it from the underwater world. The larva crawls onto a stem, grass, or high bank, safe enough for life's most important moment. The dangerous transformation begins. Its body swells as it inhales air. Internal pressure builds until the thorax cracks. The old shell splits. New legs emerge first, but soft and useless. By early morning, the dragonfly is ready. It flaps wings for the first time, leaving the site of its miraculous molt. Before us now is no longer last night's ugly aquatic larva, but one of Earth's most perfect flying creatures. 4 independent wings, aerodynamic body, and astonishing aerial mastery. In one night, a tiny underwater being becomes a master of the sky, living proof of transformation's power in the wild world. The Massif Central in central France is land of ancient volcanoes eroded by time, until only gentle outlines remain against the sky. Farther south, the landscape shifts to a completely different world, the Cévennes, where nature displays astonishing diversity. From high granite ranges, rivers pour down ceaselessly, drop by drop, persistent as an invisible hand. It cuts through limestone, carving sharp, deep lines into the earth. Over thousands of years, water has eroded sheer canyons hundreds of meters deep, majestic rock walls both beautiful and fearsome. And in recent years, on these very cliffs, an extraordinary creature has returned, the griffin vulture. Its wide wings once again glide over canyons, a sign this land is reviving and the wild cycle continues. When morning sky brings first rays, hot air currents begin rising like invisible ladders. Like a silent squadron, dozens of griffin vultures leave cliffs simultaneously, spreading huge wings and letting wind lift them. They soar not by frantic flapping, but by precise gliding art. Riding warm updrafts from canyons, they circle upward loop by loop. Once high, they display special talent, territory patrolling. Each claims a vast airspace of several kilometers like invisible sentinels. They silently scan below, every slope, ravine, clearing where life may end. Yet though separated, they never truly lose contact. In the northern Cévennes appears another harsh highland, Lazara, where wind whips across barren ridges and sky always cold. Amid desolate terrain, humans once sought refuge. During fierce religious wars, Protestant communities retreated here to escape persecution and massacres, turning Lazara into a refuge and stage for prolonged conflicts. Yet in this barren harshness, Lazara holds an unexpected contrast, birthplace of many great rivers. From granite peaks and high slopes, water seeps quietly, forming brooks then growing into life-bringing rivers. One famous river from Mont Lazare is the Tarn, starting as small springs high up, flowing through valleys, gorges, and lowlands to the sea. Along these clear, cold rivers, a discreet resident has returned after decades absent, the European otter. Rarely seen by day, this semi-aquatic mammal leaves subtle traces, faint slides on banks, smooth, resting stones, small footprints near water edges. Lazare, with clean rivers and quiet streams, has become ideal refuge for silent revival. Otter return is an important sign. Rivers here clean enough, rich enough to sustain one of the most environment-sensitive predators. On Tarn branches from Mont Lazare amid granite and green moss, European otters continue their quiet lives, living measure of nature's restoring balance in Savin. May arrives in Savin Highlands like an awakening. After cold months, ground warms, sunlight stretches across ridges and wide valleys. Wildflowers bloom simultaneously, carpeting highlands in vibrant colors. Flowers rise amid rocks, young grass, and wind, attracting insects, butterflies, and birds returning. May in Savin is not noisy, but splendid, marking nature's most vibrant phase of the year. A Savin endemic insect lives in Lazare Mountains, the Apollo butterfly. It has existed on Earth since prehistoric times, surviving harsh climate and landscape changes. But in modern times, this butterfly once faced extinction if not for quiet human guardians protecting it. Preserving each colony is like preserving a living memory of the mountains. Apollo butterflies are lovers of peace to the extreme. Day after day, they fly tirelessly across meadows, forest edges, and rocky slopes, collecting pollen and nectar from countless wildflowers. They work more than needed for minimal survival, a near-obsessive diligence repeated endlessly under sun, wind, and harsh weather. In southern mainland France coast lies an island of majestic, distinct beauty. Steep mountains, deep valleys, gorges, and ravines create a fierce yet captivating landscape. Legend says the sun once fell in love with the sea, and from that passion a child was born. Corsica. Now we stand in Scandola Nature Reserve, one of the island's most spectacular areas. Surrounded by Genoese watchtowers of Galeria and deep red cliffs plunging into the deep blue Mediterranean. Light, stone, and sea create a scene both fierce and elegant, almost untouched by humans. Scandola is dedicated to preserving Corsica's pristine natural lands and underwater biological treasures. This isolation has kept it nearly intact, rare in Europe. For its special value, Scandola is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And on those sheer cliffs, the reserve's symbol has returned, the osprey. A species once nearly vanished from here now soars again over Scandola skies. Its return clearly shows Corsican nature remains wild and quiet enough for life to revive. Though Scandola on land is magnificent with red cliffs and ancient towers overlooking the Mediterranean, beneath the surface lies the reserve's greatest treasure. Under calm, deep blue water is a completely different world. Sunken rock formations create caves, arches, and sheer walls descending into darkness. Their light changes color meter by meter, making scenery mystical. Seaweed sways with currents. Shoals of fish flash like silver arrows. Sessile creatures quietly cover rocks in layers of delicate life. This is an almost untouched underwater kingdom where richness is not showy, but enduring and dense. As if the Mediterranean chose Scandola to keep its most pristine part, groupers have grown accustomed to near absolute safety. At about 100 m depth, where light dims and humans rarely reach. But in protected waters like Scandola, what makes groupers special is not just size or strength, but their love life. A strange story almost unbelievable. Groupers are sequential hermaphrodites. When young, all are born female. Then around 10 years old, some undergo profound change, switching sex to become males. Nature programmed this unusual survival strategy to maintain population balance in deep-sea environments. Leaving the coast where terrain rises and hills open, a very different Corsica emerges on sunny, windy slopes. Farmers, sheep roam freely across scrub and low bushes. No fences, no closed pens. They move slowly over rocky terrain, grazing where soil seems barren. Here, herding is part of the landscape. Corsican farmers believe in livestock freedom, letting them find food, adapt to strong winds, harsh sun, and sudden mountain weather changes. Bell tinkles scatter across hills, blending with wind and bitter grass scent, creating a slow rhythm almost unchanged over generations. In nearby valleys, wild boars finally find a herd to settle with, a place to stay and enjoy peaceful time without returning to high mountains. Farther north, hundreds of km away, a bear prepares for winter. Under fir shadows, it pulls branches together, creating a soft, mossy den where it will sleep through cold months. In the forest, these bears gather again. Former rivals forget competition, standing side by side in years and quiet. A new hibernation cycle begins. In the sky, griffin vultures continue searching, this time a treasure shared with no one. 2 wolf pups have grown. They follow closely, learning to read tracks, move, and survive like adults. Dragonflies have found mates and prepare to bring new generations to wetlands on sunny slopes. Marmots seize final sunny days, eating heavily before long hibernation. The journey closes from northern to southern France, through deep forests, glaciers, high mountains, marshes, and seas. But the final challenge still awaits. High peaks demanding all strength and endurance. Those very difficulties forge young generations. With courage accumulated over thousands of years, migratory birds continue facing wind, storms, and endless distances, not just to survive, but to keep nature's cycle turning forever. When winter comes, goose flocks will stay in warm south, and when spring returns, they rise again into French skies, crossing familiar lands, carrying the endless story of journey, life, and wild nature's power. Thank you for joining Wild World on this journey across France, from high mountains, deep forests, marshes to seas. We hope the images and stories have brought you moments of reflection to see that nature is still alive, transforming, and needs cherishing every day. Thank you for listening, and see you on the next adventures.